Welcome to the Real CP Show. I am your host, CP. In today's topic, this Anglo woman predator, Robyn Polston, got pregnant with her daughter's 14-year-old date after a chaperoned date. But you still have numbers of people that do just like this when they hear what is reality that's happening more and more and more and more.
Nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing.
Yes. Numbers of people glitch out. They glitch out. Oh my goodness. We can't believe that there are numbers of what I call a pexicus, predatoricus, womanist perverts. They're among numbers of students. They're among various parts of society. They glitch out. See, when you start talking about, well, males, look at them, they're predators. Look what they're doing to some of these kids, blah, 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 etc., etc. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because those predator males, they this and all that. Look at those numbers, those male teachers, they predators toward these little girls and boys, etc., etc. But you start saying, hey, hold on for a second. Let's again talk about the elephant on the couch. Again, this apexicus, predatoricus, womanist predator of kids. They are abundantness in a bad way in various parts of society. They have etched themselves also in various parts of educationalness. Oh, but again, we want to pretend that ain't happening. So let's go ahead and share my screen on this. Make sure you can see that. All right. A mom, 43, chaperoned junior high dance, then allegedly had a child with daughter's 14-year-old date. Predator. Robyn Polston, 43, is now facing felony charges and a possible prison sentence of 60 years if convicted on all 4 counts. 4 counts? Look at that. You know what? Let me play this right quick. Let me show you. I want this. You see that? Look at that. Wow. See, but again, you got people glitching out. They don't see that. An Illinois woman, Anglo woman, is accused of giving birth to a child that she conceived with a 14-year-old boy. 14 years old. Robyn Polston, 43, is charged with 2 counts of criminal sexual assault with a victim between the ages of 13 and 17, and 2 counts of possession of child pornography. According to her court docket, those charges, which each carry a prison sentence of up to 15 years, all stem from Polston's alleged a business of one of her daughter's friends, according to a probable cause affidavit obtained by such and such entity. But don't worry about it, right? Just believe women, right? In some generic way. Well, feminists love that nonsense. Such and such personnel wrote in the affidavit that her office learned about an investigation being conducted by the Washington such and such enforcement place. Followed a report they received about Polston after she gave birth to a newborn in 2025, people. Today is April the 29th, 2026. A week later, investigators were able to obtain a copy of the child's birth certificate and learned that Polston had given the newborn the same middle and last name as the alleged underage boy victim. According to the affidavit, when confronted with the information, the affidavit said that Polston insisted that the father was a man in his 20s named Brian, who she had not seen since the birth of her child. That is an additional dynamic, right? Because remember, in this society, oh my goodness, those males, but especially they love trying to act like black males are just the predominant based runners and having babies and leaving the kids behind, even though predominant majority of black males are in the relationship with the child or children, direct or indirect. Oh, but they don't want to talk about that. You see how that goes, right? Because there's a dynamic to that. Now, quite quick. Let me sit there and show something for a second. But again,
Nothing. I know nothing.
this is how numbers will do. But at the same time, feminists with their little deranged, demon-like mentalities, this is also how they sound. Yes, that's how they sound. Right? You don't get it confused. There are some hand-picked chicken bok of some coon sellout males as well that are pro-feminist that are also very deadly towards strong masculinity. Different topic in itself. But let me sit there and share my screen for a second. Because how many people have rarely heard about this story on this? What do you mean by that? Take a look at this for a second. This right here was talking about how Robyn Polston, well, we already talked about what happened. And this person said, I can't believe this case hasn't garnered more attention. I actually stumbled across an influencer who was covering the case, but news articles and general online discussion is almost non-existent. I'll provide a few links here of what I was able to find. You understand, people? Let's look at some of the comments. People are so sick. Why do we not hear about this, but hear about what every celebrity spends on their life? Valid point. Very strange. Consider all the children involved and that they need to live their lives. It's good. This rapist isn't getting lots of attention. He said that's deflection. He said that goes, right? Because if it was vice versa and a male did that, oh my goodness, off his head. And I don't mean his top head either. Do you understand? How many males would be like, give me 5 minutes? You know what? Give me 1 minute with that predator. I'm going to show him. But at the same time, you say, hey, big bad, are you going to get in the faces of these predatory type women who are robbing these innocent children? That includes little girls. Are you going to get in their faces? And you see how that heated anger reduces down. You see how that goes, right? So they talk about, I don't think so. I get it that she's behind the bars, but we still need to talk about it. The minors involved in the case, the victim and the perp's daughter, the perp's woman's daughter, are supposed to be protected by law and hiding their identity and getting support to love their lives as long as they can. Our disclosure need not involve the monosphere, but the crime itself and the criminal woman, Anglo woman perv, far too often cases that involve a grown woman, different women too. It can be certain women within the polygamous culture. It can be certain women within Hispanicas. It can be certain women within certain black. You get the point. And a minor male child are hushed down. Too many news outlets do not put the same accountability toward these female culprits as they would hypothetically of a male adult grooming, abducting and robbing a minor girl. It needs to be spoken about. Exactly. They understood the diabolicalness of the deranged demonicism, how when numbers of women who rock, who sexual assaultness, you get the point, right? These little young underage boys and some girls, when these women, again, apexicus, womanness, or apexicus, predatoricus, womanness type of women pervs, when they do these little derangementness of demonicism scenarios on this, then it's almost like, no, it's not that many. It's not that many. You see how that goes, right? And it is gigantically a lot more women in the fastness that are doing this. Do you understand this? But this system of supremacy, which is the most awesome mental manipulation force that's ever existed, especially by feminist supremacy type people and their deranged demonicism mentalities, that it must be minimized. Do you understand? So give me a second. Let me go back here. So let me go ahead and share my screen on this part. Last thing. Give me a second here. Actually, before I show this, see, this is like let me back. Old school is also Mary Kay Letourneau. Some people that know. But see, this is why you can't be talking about the past. We got to get over the past. You know how they do Black Americans every day on a daily basis. You got to get over the past while the past continues to keep happening to the present and goes into the future. You see how this game goes, right? But that was a different topic. Mary Kay Letourneau she's what I would call a true super apex of apexicus, predatoricus, womanness. She is apexes of apexes of women demonic predators against these little children underage. She was a teacher, a bad virgin, in those 90s, where she sat there and met this particular young fellow around 12-ish, something like that. And not far after that, in those 12 or 13-year-oldness she had sexual relations with him of a 12-ish, 13-year-oldness, of a 12-ish, 13-ish. Oh, just think about that. He was around 12-ish, 13-ish that she had sexual relationships with and had a baby or babies with him. Could you imagine if that would have happened? Even present time, a grown man in their 30s, and he grooms a young girl who's 12 or 13 some years old, has a baby or babies with her when he was already married, had several kids already before. Do you understand? And then there are some people that was trying to make an excuse saying, oh, but he was going through a tumultuous type of relationship with his wife. He was going through a lot of different trauma. Oh my goodness. They be like, we don't hear that bull crap. But that's what some people were trying to make it seem like on her. Do you understand? But again, the hypocrisy was collectively there were still excuses made. And that was talking about the 90s. So generation or so later now, which is about 25 some years later, a generation about 25 years later. So this has been a little bit past a generation, and you still got these opesicus, predatoricus, womanist, child pervs doing these things to these children. But again, it's minimized. That's brilliant dynamics. And even when Mary Kay Letourneau got out of prison, got slapped on the wrist, basically, she got back, she got out, and basically she was on what is called probation, and she broke probation and get it with him. Do you understand how that sounds? And when she finished her prison sentence, they got together and they got married for a short period of time. Think about that. If that was a man that did that, again, they'd be like off with his head. And again, I'm not talking about the top head. You see how hypocrisy goes. Let me go and play this last clip. Washington woman sentenced to prison time for being a sexual predator with a teenager.
A Washington woman will spend 20 years in prison for having sex with a minor, having child porn, and them having a child together. 43-year-old Robyn Polston pleaded guilty to 4 separate charges, 2 counts of child porn and 2 counts of criminal sexual assault. Last November, court documents revealed Polston gave birth to a baby. DNA testing showed her and the minor are the biological parents. Investigators discovered a large amount of explicit photos and videos of her and that minor on her devices.
But you'll have people that glitch out and do like this.
I know nothing.
What was that again?
Nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing.
I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.
Nothing. I know nothing.